but that heavier precip right there now, and that is well to the south, or just to the south and east of Oxford, but it's still riding right along Highway 278. Taking a look at the shear rate in this, you see that area in green right there? Yep, that's over Porterton. There's some rotation in there. If you're in Porterton, south of Altus, get to your storm shelter. If you're in Cornish, go to your storm shelter right now. Just get in the safest place of your home. If you don't have a storm shelter, you want to be on the lowest floor of your home. And look, that's just a little bit of an uptick there between Porterton and DeLay. So you see that little area? And look, whenever we see this start to kind of make a bit of an S shape, and we almost have it here, there's an indication of some decent rotation there. The only thing that's not lining up is that shear marker now that was the shear marker that was basically at about a 2.8. Yeah, it's still holding steady at a 2.8. Interesting. But nonetheless, there is some rotation right there. As we take a look at the shear swath, basically the path of this storm, it really started to originate just to the southwest of Ridgeland and then just kind of migrated in this direction as it continues to move towards Cornish, Tula, and Toccopola. So that's what I'm looking at there. Now let's go back, look at the big picture, and then go back and take a look at this cell that continues to make its way on into Quitman County right now. Look at this activity. So we've got, just on this view, I'm going to try to get that out of there. So we got about 100 strikes of lightning just right here with this cell, all right? So 100 strikes of lightning right in there, 80 to 90 really. So as I zoom in a little tighter, it's only going to show me what's on the screen. So I want to just be able to show only that cell so we get an accurate depiction of how much lightning is in it. And again, on this, about a third of those strikes are positive lightning strikes. You see those bigger bolts? That's an indication of the positive strikes. And look, we've got lightning that is hitting outside of an area where there is precipitation. By the way, this is accurate to within about 15 feet, all right? So something good to know there. But look at those little areas right there where we've had cloud-to-ground lightning strikes and there's not even any rainfall there. That's why we tell you when thunder roars, go indoors. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles from the core of a severe thunderstorm or just even a garden variety storm. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles from that. Now, let's hit some of these skits. These are storm center identification and track, coming in at a 2.8 on that, just to the south and east of Lula. Still hovering right around a 2.8, so no major, no significant rotation within that. This is just a very heavy rain, wind, and yeah, hail maker too. As a matter of fact, taking a look at the hail potential, quarter size hail possible in this, quarter to dime size hail within it. So heavy rain, sledge, rain's coming down right now, just under an inch per hour. So pretty heavy there. And again, moving off to the east, southeast, and we still have the severe thunderstorm warning that is going to remain now for a little while longer with this cell as it moves on through. So this is what we're looking at. Let me clear this out, put the reflectivity back in there, show you what's going on with these cells. And again, we have the severe thunderstorm warning, but no indication of anything really significant. About a 20% chance that the hail within this cell is severe in size. In other words, half an inch. It's indicating that there is some hail in there, about 3/4 of an inch in size, but only about a 20% chance of that. There's an 80% chance that it is producing hail, but likely most of this just kind of hitting the ground and then it's gone. Or hitting the ground, I should say, is dime to pea size hail. But we're still dealing with a lot of activity around the area, mainly along the 278 corridor, and that's where we knew tonight If we were going to see storms, an evening round of storms, it was likely going to be in that area. So that's what we're looking at right now. These are the two cells we still have actively working, but with BTIs that are below 3, I'm not overly concerned about tornado potential. I'm more concerned about the potential for damaging wind and the hail potential with this. So something to keep in mind there. Anyway, that's what I've got right now. That's what's working over the area. Let me clear this activity off of here. It still wants to keep putting that up there. So tell you what I'm going to do is go back to this view, and then I'm going to pop back in front of the chroma key wall. Jay, let's take that Oxford camera one more time, if you don't mind. Let's take a look at that and see what's happening in Oxford. Again, a much calmer, more tranquil pattern in the town square in Oxford, but Lafayette County and Oxford still technically under a tornado warning. Back to the first alert Doppler radar right now. They have allowed the severe thunderstorm warning to expire. Let's go back to the first alert Doppler radar if we can, Jay. Severe thunderstorm warning has now been allowed to expire. 11 o'clock, it's gone. That storm's still packing a bit of a punch though. Right now we're with you for this tornado warning, but that is rapidly starting to make a push to the east into Pontotoc County. So I want to give our friends and viewers that are in Union and Pontotoc counties a first alert as this is coming your way. So let's track it. Let's zoom in here. Take a close, whoops. Let me clear this all out of here, and then we'll put the zoom in on here and see what we've got going right now, because that cell really still just showing signs of holding together. And I think that one's going to try to reemerge and become something here within the next few minutes. So we'll watch this one closely. But that one, yeah, that's really still holding together. And there's still a pretty decent inflow notch with that. So with that, again, just to give you your first alert here on the timing, tornado warning, that's going to go until 11:30. So Lafayette, Pontotoc counties still got the rotation itself, just or the indication on the Doppler radar of rotation that is just to the south of 278. It's this area right here. That's where we're seeing a pretty well-defined inflow notch kind of coming into play. But again, this whole supercell just spinning. It's in the open atmosphere, and as it's moving off to the east, we've just got that counterclockwise swirl with it, and there are enough upper level dynamics to support the development of a tornado with this. But we got about another 28 minutes on this. Hopefully we'll get this cell out of here. Won't see anything else, but let's go ahead and put a track on this once again. And I'm going to track it from this area right here. We'll go just beyond the polygon. So Dogtown, 1110. Toccopola, 1116. I'll get that right one of these days, I promise you. Randolph, 1127. Pinnell, 1134. And then Pontotoc, 1143. And then into Gershorm. I think that's the first time I've seen that. Gershorm, that's going to come in right around 1147. So these are some of the communities that are in the path of this. But the whole cell itself moving very slowly. And I'm going to do an interesting track on this, so bear with me quickly, because I want to give you your first alert on when it's going to move out, okay? So let's track it from the back of the cell, all right? We're tracking that back side. And so I'm going to track it on through the polygon as it moves to the east. The communities that you see popping up here, that's when the back line is going to make its way through, all right? So when the back of the storm comes through, that's when it should be ending for you. So what we're going to show you, what we're displaying here are basically end times, all right? I know that didn't sound right, but times for the storm to end and move out. So Altus should be out of your community by 11:05. Delay should be gone by 11:10. Dogtown should be out by 11:19. Toccopola, 11:24 it should be gone. Thaxton, 11:27. If Buchanan should be past you by 11:33. So you've still got about another 30 minutes of this storm pushing on through. Then Ecru, 11:40, and Pontotoc, 11:46. So these are some of the storms, or these are the times that cell, that this entire cell should be gone and out of your community. So good news there. We often track from the leading edge to give you your first alert on when it's going to move in. I want to focus more specifically on when it's going to move out. But we still keep in mind that we have the tornado warning that remains in effect now until 11:30 tonight. So that's the complex we're dealing with right now. Oxford, by the way, town of Oxford, you're in the clear in regard to severe threat. You're still dealing with some heavy rain. That's going to come on through. And as a matter of fact, as that continues to move off to the east at about 20, 30 miles per hour, you're going to get some light to moderate rainfall, slightly heavier just to the north of Water Valley. But that is going to come in behind that tornado warned portion of the storm itself. And look at that. That's just still wanting to hook. That just wants to spin right there. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I'm going to clear this off. Let's stop it and let's take a close look at it quickly. Just using the scope right here. Let's check this out. There's a little bit of something right here. Do you see that? Just south of 278. That's kind of where it's been throughout the duration of this cell itself. Just to the south of 278 and then just kind of pushing off to the east. So Thaxton, I think you may be just to the south of the rotation, but you're still going to be in the path of the heavier precipitation as it comes on through. Now, let's reset the picture. Let's show you what's going on. Once again, I always like to show everybody, for those of you who may be just tuning in, what's happening out there and what we're dealing with. These areas, no worries. If you are north of Interstate 40, no worries. You're fine. City of Memphis, Shelby County, you're in great shape. The area of activity remains right here along Highway 278 tonight. Nothing really working back to the west. That's good news. But there is a pesky little cell that still remains in this highly sheared environment that's right here around Quitman County. That thing just doesn't want to diminish, even though the warning has officially expired for it. I do want to jump over in just a moment, see what the National Weather Service is saying in regard to what this storm may still be doing or want to do. The heavier precipitation just to the north of 278. So it's east of 61, it is west of 55, but look at that little area right there. I'm going to tell you right now, and I think you can probably pick it out yourself, where you think the hail is going to be, likely right there. So we'll just hit the hail signature first. Look at that, right there, right in the ballpark. See if we get an indication of hail size north of Marks, just under or just over ½ an inch in size. Yeah, that's about it. Now, let's put a 3D slice on it, see what kind of height this has got on it. When we can see the height of the storm, that gives us an indication of whether it is going a little higher, stretching a little higher, drawing some colder air, keep it going, or maybe that top's a little lower. I'm thinking it's still probably hovering around 30,000 feet. And yeah, look at that. It's still between about 25 to 30,000 feet. We have a suspended hail core right here. You see it right there. That hail is still making its way to the ground, and then as it hits that ground, spreads out. It's probably pea to dime size hail, but it is in there at the very least. I'm going to reset this, and we're going to come back in and put a track on it, all right? Just to show you. All right, we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's outside our coverage area, just to the south of Lee County, but I think we may see a little more activity starting to fire up just to the south and southeast as the evening progresses. But let's just go back in here one more time and let's put a track on this as it's moving off to the east. Very heavy rainfall right now. Just a quick check just to make sure we're not looking at anything in the way of significant rotation within it. There's broad scale rotation. That's where you see, a little red, a little green kind of coming in together here. This whole thing is rotating, but it doesn't look ominous at this time, and that's good news. I'm going to move this over just a little bit so I can give you a better idea of who may be impacted by this storm. I want to make sure I've got a good general idea of the path of it itself. So it's moving off to the east. That's what it looks like right now. So with that, let's put a track. And it's still moving slowly, too. These storms have all been moving about 25, 30 miles per hour. It's really something else, the slow easterly progression of these. But that's going to come on in behind the storm that just moved through Panola and Lafayette County. So there's not going to be a lot for this to work with, as this cell kind of zapped a bit of the energy, but this is still producing, has enough to produce a lot of heavy rain, still a tremendous amount of moisture in the atmosphere, a lot of heavy rain associated with this. Asa, 1112, is coming to you. Then we'll see that move into Batesville, 1122. Sardis, 1125. Then it's going to get into Eureka Springs at 1133, Shuford at 1141, Burgess at 1148, moves into Aylesville at 1155, Oxford round 2 or 3 for the day, maybe even round 4, I do believe. Round 3. So you got the early morning, we had one that came through, and now this one. So this will be your third round of storms. So this one is going to come in right behind it. So Oxford, you're going to get another blast of very heavy rain, maybe even some strong wind. We can't rule out the possibility along that leading edge of some very strong wind coming into play there. And as a matter of fact, I can show you spectrum width. That'll just give us an idea of where the stronger winds are. And look, you see that little area right there? Again, it's turbulence within the atmosphere. We're just looking at where there's a lot of unsettled air. You've got cold air descending, warm air rising, and right now, that's the area right there in Quitman County. So we're seeing that there. You can see here in southeastern Lafayette County where the stronger wind is right now. That too, moving off to the east. So this is really the area right there along Highway 278. I know I didn't draw that right, but at the same time, you get a general idea of what's down there. So this is going to move on past 55. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put an interesting track just on the turbulence, all right? May not hold together, but I do want to give you a first alert to when there could be some significant winds that come on through. So let's just track it. And I'm just going to track the area of greater turbulence. We'll bring it into Lafayette County. Why not? Because I think that may have the ingredients to hold together for another few minutes. So Crowder, 1118, Asa, 1121, Batesville, we're tracking wind, all right? More specifically, we're tracking this area of wind right here. There could be some wind damage within the next few minutes for these areas. So Asa, 1121, Batesville, that will move through at 1134. Not rain, we're tracking wind. Then Sardis, 1141, Shuford, 1148. It'll get into Burgess right around 1201, Taylor, 1208, should move through Oxford right around 1216. And hopefully, once that moves out, right around midnight or so, shortly after, we should be in the clear overall with a little better pattern developing as we head into the overnight hours, at least for the Action News 5 coverage area. There's still the chance. Remember, we still have this tornado, I keep saying tornado watch, we still have this severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until 2 a.m. So Lee and Phillips counties in eastern Arkansas, all of northern Mississippi, and all the counties outlined here in the Action News 5 coverage area included in that severe thunderstorm watch until 2 a.m. But West Tennessee, great shape tonight. Got a little smattering of light rain right there around Alcorn and McNairy counties right there on the Mississippi-Tennessee state line. This is ramping up a little bit in the way of lightning. Let's see if I can give you a look. Let's check out the lightning counter. Let's see what it's doing right now. That's up to 160 strikes now. This little cell right here, it's moving on into Pontotoc County. That's coming in about 296 strikes of lightning. Just to give you an idea of lightning in and of itself, it usually strikes the earth about 30,000 times a day on the planet. Anywhere on the planet, on average, 30,000 strikes of lightning a day in a 24-hour period. We're looking at what? More than 400 strikes of lightning just on that view right there. And look, I've seen storms over the years. I've seen storms move through here that produce 25, 30,000 strikes of lightning just coming through the Mid-South in one afternoon or one evening. But right now, just on this view, we've got 502 strikes of lightning. That's a lot of lightning. And the lightning can certainly take out power as well. So that's a big concern. Lightning also an indicator of the potential for hail. Now, as we take a look at the big picture for hail, we don't see a lot. There's a little bit out there, but overall, it's confined again right there to that 278 corridor. There's still a pretty significant amount of hail or decent hail size and structure within that little portion right there, just under an inch in size. This is just about to exit Lafayette County, but we still have the active tornado warning that remains in effect there right now. Oh, and look, severe thunderstorm warning back. Yeah, that was a good call. That's a decent storm right there. So adding that severe thunderstorm warning, let's give you first alert on what's going on there. That was just added. That's going to go until 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock. So we were looking earlier when this storm was going to exit. So just as this cell exits, that's likely going to be followed up by another storm coming in just behind it. So this goes until midnight tonight. That is going to be for Lafayette, Panola, Tallahatchie, Yalobusha counties. That's going to clip northern Tallahatchie, northern Yalobusha County, but really come right on through Panola and the heart of Lafayette County. So you've all got another round coming. Batesville, that's coming your way. But that's what we're looking at right now with this cell. We're going to keep a close eye on that for the potential that it may tornado. I think the tornado potential with this cell that's in Lafayette County right now, that's starting to transition and move on out. New radar scan there. Still a little bit of rotation right there. Do you see that? That little inflow notch right there? Let's check that out. Let's put a track on it real quick. And let's just take it on through Pontotoc. Give you your first alert for any friends who may be watching there. 11:31, Springville. 11:43. That's when it's going to move into Pontotoc. That's the area of potential rotation, all right? That's for the area that I think the National Weather Service has a tornado warning for. And by the way, I think this area back here, I think if you are anywhere in this area, tornado's not an issue for you. Really, that polygon should kind of come here and maybe even be extended a little farther to the east. But I think that's a better depiction of where that tornado warning polygon should be at this time. However, Nixon, 1147, Chihuahua, that's going to come through right around 1152. So that's the cell we're watching there. That's packing a punch too. That's still got a lot of rainfall in it. Let me see the hail potential on that. And that seems to have at least grown in size. In other words, in the amount of real estate it's impacting, but it's still only showing about a half an inch in size in the mid-levels of the cell itself. And let's just go ahead and slice it. Take a look, see what we see inside there. And, whoops. I think I'm going to have to get a new look. Yeah, let me clear this out of here. Forgive me. I'm probably trying to do a little too much too fast right here. But I do want to zoom in one more time. Let's take another look at this cell itself. That area of circulation is just now crossed the Lafayette-Pontotoc County line. Pontotoc, that's moving on into you. Now severe thunderstorm warning has been put in place to replace that. I'm wondering if they're going to expire the severe thunderstorm warning. So Lafayette, Lee, Pontotoc counties, severe thunderstorm warning until midnight tonight. But we've got this other cell back here with a severe thunderstorm warning. That too goes until midnight tonight. So Oxford or Lafayette County, you're going to have this one that goes until midnight, this one that goes until midnight, but the storm that's coming in behind it will likely prompt another severe thunderstorm warning before that one is even over and moves on out. So this is what we're looking at right now. I was going to put a 3D slice on this just to take a look inside the storm just quickly. Then we'll move back over and take another look at this storm that is currently moving through. Ooh, look at that. You see that? Can you see that little area right there? Let me go back to that. We are looking inside the B rear, all right? That is the bounded weak echo region. A lot of meteorologists get excited when they see that in a 3D slice right there. That little area that is right there. That is what we're looking at. And a little closer view. So you've got rain coming down here. You've got rain coming down here behind it. And so rain's coming down here. You got rain coming down here. And then right here, that's where we got no rain and a little bit of rotation. And you can almost see the little well-defined arch right there, the bounded weak echo region. But I don't see anything in the way of hail in that. So that's good news. And there may be some aloft, but I do know we're getting some very heavy rain out of that. No visual confirmation of a tornado. And really, it's moved on out of Oxford right now. But look at this cell back here. That's still moving along to the east pretty quickly. Let's put a little track on that. Good thing is I don't see any rotation in it, but I think that's packing some wind. Just quickly, let me hit this. Yeah, that's got a lot of strong wind with it. So that's a messy looking cell. So Batesville, I want you to get ready for the potential for some strong wind. We were looking at the spectrum with moments ago. You can still see it kind of holding together right there. That's going to make a push to the east, and it's going to come on through and cross 55. Let's go back here and let's put a track on just the overall rain shield itself. All right, so I'll track it from the leading edge of the heavier precip. Let's go just take it off to the east because I think that's where it's going to go. Chapelton, it's going to come through right around 11:21, should get into Batesville at 11:28. We'll see that then move into Enid at 11:38, Long Branch 11:46, Burgess 11:55, then gets into Taylor at 12:03, Oxford 12:09, and then it moves into Altus right around 12:22. So Oxford, you've got another punch coming through right around 12:09. All right, so shortly after midnight, you've already had this one cell that has moved through. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So you've already had this one cell that's moved through and is east of you, but now it's this cell that's going to come in behind it. And again, these are just riding right along that 278 corridor. You've got all that instability. There's still a decent southerly flow there that's coming into play. I think for our counties to the north, we should soon start to see a bit of a northwesterly wind coming into play from the, I didn't mean to do that. Let me go back and hit this. But I think we should see a bit of a northwesterly wind coming into play behind a big low pressure center that's driving all of this. And I think that low is probably somewhere in this area right here because these storms are getting kind of wrapped up in it and then pushing off to the east. So as this is coming on down like that, it's just kind of forcing and keeping everything along and confined to that area. And because we've got a pretty significant southerly flow, it's not letting it go any farther south, and it's just forcing it to ride right along that a little boundary, basically. That's what we call it. It's a boundary that's within the atmosphere itself. So here we are right now, 11:22. We have 3 active warnings. We have 1 tornado warning in effect right now. Let me clear this. I meant to zoom into that. Again, look at the big picture. Everybody to the north of 40 in West Tennessee, you're in great shape. I think West Tennessee, no more storms for anybody along and north of the Mississippi-Tennessee state line. Memphis and Shelby County included in that. All of eastern Arkansas, you're in great shape. I don't see anything developing back to your west that is of concern. It's northern Mississippi right now, and more specifically, it's North Mississippi right there along the 278 corridor. Yeah, there's some precip that's around Tate and Tunica County. That's coming down pretty good too. As a matter of fact, rainfall rate on that right now is just to the north and east of Tunica. It's east of 61, west of 55, just over 3/4 of an inch per hour. But look, you don't have to be a meteorologist to see where all the activity is tonight. You can tell where the strongest storms are, and we've got 2 very distinct areas. One right here, and really more specifically right here. We've got this cell that is now moving on out of Lafayette County. There's still a pretty decent inflow notch there. We've got some heavy rain that's moving just to the south of Oxford, but a more tranquil pattern starting to emerge right now as we take a look at the big picture and what we're seeing here on our NEXRAD radar. But just to give you your Once again, a recap, tornado warning, that's going to remain until 11:30. We got 7 more minutes on that. I do not anticipate that being extended for Lafayette County. This little area right here, we're going to watch this right around 11:30. This severe thunderstorm warning goes until midnight. So we've got the Lafayette, Pontotoc County tornado warning till 11:30, but a severe thunderstorm warning that is for Lafayette, Panola, Tallahatchie, Yalobusha counties. That's going to go until midnight tonight. And this is what we're seeing moving its way across the Action News 5 coverage area right now. And just, again, looking at the big picture, nothing back to the west. There are some stronger storms, by the way, that are in southern Arkansas. As a matter of fact, I think I can tap into the Little Rock radar. You see these storms that are back here in southwestern Arkansas? Those are going to just kind of ride along this direction, should stay just to our south. That's another reason the tornado watch, or severe, I keep calling it a tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch, remains in effect until 2 a.m. Notice those storms that are back there in Arkansas, there's still some real estate for them to work through. I think northern Mississippi, for the most part, south of 278 or north of 278 is going to be in great shape for the rest of the night. We get those other 2 cells out of here, we're in great shape. But we still have the severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 2 a.m., so we can't let our guard down just yet. But right now, very encouraging by what we are seeing, even though we've got a few active severe thunderstorm warnings at this time. And I'm going to pop over here. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to put this into motion quickly, and then I'm going to pop over here. I just want to take a quick look at what the National Weather Service is saying about the cells that we are continuing to watch and see if they have any concern over anything. And then, let's see, that cell that's in Quitman County that we're looking at, they're concerned more about the potential for quarter-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds with that, all right? A trained storm spotter did spot a funnel cloud that was near the intersection of Highway 334 and County Road 455. That was in Denmark, 4 miles to the west-southwest of Denmark in Lafayette County. So there was, oh wow, there's a pretty decent picture of it too. I'm sorry I can't show it to you. But there was a pretty decent picture of a funnel cloud in that area, and that's coming from the Lafayette County EMA. So that is what we're seeing, and that was passed on from a storm spotter in that area. Also, we're getting reports of more trees down. There is a tree down on County Road 415 near Pebble Creek. So there is additional trees down in Lafayette County, and there's probably trees down all along the 278 corridor tonight. So just use caution if you have to be out tonight. If you don't, I encourage you just to stay home, ride these out, and let's watch these as they move on through and move out of our coverage area as they continue to make that move to the east. Now, let me clear this off of here. Let's clear this out. Let me zoom in a little tighter to the area of active weather right now, show you what we've got working at this time. I'm going to zoom into this 278 corridor. That's where the activity is going to continue through the overnight hours. But again, this storm cell itself, mainly a wind maker right now. I'm going to, let me hit this, and then I want to hit the spectrum width again. Winds are worse in Pontotoc County. Those are the strongest winds, just at a glance. Some decent wind right now in southwestern Panola County. That's moving off to the east. That's what I'm looking at there. The tornado threat, by the way, for Lafayette County, it's over. 2 minutes left on that warning itself. I'm going to stick with you here for another 2 minutes on air. Hopefully I can get you back to your regularly scheduled programming. I'm not even sure what we have on TV tonight. Jay, if you can give me an update on what our programming is, I'd appreciate that. I am going to, what is that, Saturday Night Live repeat. So I've covered a pretty good portion of Saturday Night Live tonight, and for that I apologize, but it has been a stormy night in the Mid-South. So let's give you an idea of where this cell is going. Sardis, 1128. That's coming on through. Enid, 1136. Should move into Burgess at 1151. Taylor, 1159. Then it's going to move into Oxford at 1205. You get another round of very heavy rain, some strong wind coming through, and then that should pretty much be it once that moves on out. And then we'll see that get into Altus at 1217, Denmark at 1222, and then into Tocopla right around 1234 tonight. The cell itself that is now tornado warned, that has one more minute left on it, and that should expire within the next 60 seconds, if not less. But the tornado threat is now really into Pontotoc County, and just taking a little closer look at that for the potential for rotation, still there. See it. You can even see the well-defined notch there. Taking a look at the scope, that is still showing some pretty decent rotation just to the south of Thaxton. That's going to move off to the east tonight. Tell you what, let's put this on here. And I know this is outside our coverage area, but I'm going to ride that just to the east just in case. So Algoma, 1142. Then it's going to move into Pontotoc, 1146, 1153 into Chihuahua, Chesterville, 1207, Bissell, 1210, Tupelo, 1219, Plantersville, 1223, and then into Nettleton at 1230. Tornado warning is now expired at 1130. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to remain tonight until midnight, I do believe, on this one. Yeah, that's going to go until midnight tonight. And then we've got the other severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for Panola, Lafayette. This is a big one too. This remains in effect for Quitman, Panola, Lafayette, Tallahatchie, and Yalobusha counties. That too goes until midnight tonight. No indications of tornadic activity within this right now, but we're going to continue to watch it. And of course, we will keep you updated. Now, with only one severe thunderstorm warning and a wind maker at that with some heavy rain, the rest of the area doing well. We've been on the air now for just over 3 hours. Tell you what, we're going to get you back to your regularly scheduled programming, but know this, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here. We're going to watch these storms tonight. Hopefully you won't see me again until Monday, but should another tornado warning be issued, we'll be back on the air right here on Action News 5. So I encourage you to stay tuned for the rest of the night. I also want you to get the Action News 5 First Alert weather app if you don't have it. If you go to your app store, just search First Alert. You'll find it there. It is free for Apple and Android products. And as we head into the overnight hours, I know many folks want to go to bed right now, worried about storms. I think we're in great shape at this time. I'm going to continue to watch it, but should any additional warnings get issued, you'll get a First Alert right on your smartphone or your tablet if you have the First Alert weather app. So download it. It's free for Apple and Android products. It's a great tool. You'll have the interactive radar. You can always watch our live streaming coverage there as well. And again, should any warnings be issued, you're going to get your First Alert right there. Let's hope for a tranquil remainder of the night. Still going to be a little loud and rainy along the Highway 278 and corridor in North Mississippi, but the rest of the Action News 5 coverage area should fare well tonight, and that includes Memphis and Shelby County. My name is meteorologist Ron Childers. Have a great, safe night. Stay weather aware. And again, I'm going to keep watching this until it moves on out of the area. Let's get you back to your regularly scheduled programming already in progress. Thank you. What was that, 3.5 hours?